Hello and welcome to the first episode of This Month a monthly vlog where I attempt to break down bigger concepts into bite-sized nuggets, share cool things that you can implement into your work, or otherwise just yap on for 3 to 5 minutes. This month I'm talking about payroll and salaries, the ever-maligned mystery that's really not so mysterious after all. Let's take a look. First, let's identify ways that you can look at payroll information. If you're looking at your own payroll information, you can find that printed on your pay stub. But if you're reviewing activity for an employee or within your department, you can track upcoming payments using an expense distribution report, or EDRs, which should be emailed to you shortly before a pay date for your review. Otherwise, you can run a salary ledger report, which is a great tool for reviewing total activity of an employee or a department. Okay, now we know where to find the information, but what do we do with it? We track it. It's important to watch salary and payroll activity to make sure that payments are occurring on time and accurately. The best way to go about this process is to create a payroll forecast, or really just your best guess of how you think that someone's payment will occur during their contract period. This helps you catch errors before they occur and saves you from potentially a big ugly mess later on. To make a payroll forecast, you should look at the overall amount that somebody's being paid and their contract working dates. Now, normally, payment will occur in a fairly reliable pattern for simple contracts. You can sometimes even just divide up the total pay by the number of pay periods, like this. But if the start and end contract dates cover less than half of that 2-week pay period, note that pay for that week may only be half of what they would receive during the other pay periods. Let's look at a quick example. On this contract, the start date of January 6th falls on the second half of the pay period, and the same with the contract end date. It's only on the first half of the pay period, and that certainly makes our calculation very easy. 7 full pay periods and 2 half pay periods, the equivalent to 8 pay periods. $1,000, the total pay, divided across those 8 pay periods. That means $125 for the full pay periods, and half of that amount, $62.50, for the first and final pay periods. Now, this is just what employee pay might look like. It's important to create a forecast, but it's equally important to monitor what actually happens to make sure the employee is being compensated fairly. Creating these payment timelines is a manual process and subject to differences in processing. Let's say that the person organizing this payroll didn't adjust for the half pay period start and end dates. It's not necessarily wrong as long as the employee still receives the correct pay by the end, but it can mean that your payment pattern will be different. Of course, this is just a very simplified example, and real application is going to be a little more complex. You're going to catch small discrepancies pretty frequently. Small overpayments of a few cents to even a couple dollars are usually not worth correcting unless it's going to cause a deficit. The takeaway lesson here is that you can and should watch payroll activity to make sure that your employees are being paid correctly and also to catch any large errors that may be coming up. Let's look back at our example. What if on the first pay period the employee was paid $230? What if they received that much each pay period? That's an overpayment of $840 by the end of their contract. That's money that you may not get back at the end of the semester. It's definitely better to catch the error before it happens using a forecasting tool, and to contact HR if it looks like they may receive the incorrect amount by the end of their contract. Using EDRs will be the best tool for tracking incoming pay because if there's a large error that's about to occur, you can contact payroll and have them stop it. It should be noted that payroll tools usually help you see pretty well in advance when an error is going to occur, so if something doesn't look right, it's okay to reach out beforehand and ask the processor to double check the work. And that's the end of This Month For anyone that's interested, I have a template that makes payroll tracking a little easier, plus a secondary training video that goes into more detail on how to create, monitor, and adjust payroll forecasts. See the SOS link for more information. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next month.